Okay, we're here with Phil Wilson, MP for Sedgefield, for the very first video interview on Aycliffe today. Phil, we're here at Moor Lane Park, home of Newton Aycliffe Football Club. So we might as well start with the football club, and you've been a big supporter of Newton Aycliffe FC over the last year or two. And how important do you think the football club is to the town of Aycliffe?
Well, I think the football team and the club actually helped to put Newton Aycliffe on the map. You know, it's sixth in the league now. It's just been promoted, and it's a giant step from the league they're in to the one they're in now. And I think all credit to them. I think they're doing a great job in promoting the town, and I want to say it's a success. And I'm proud to be a member of the club, not just a supporter.
And you've been, I say, a supporter of the club. You were here to help with the opening of the new stand here. The sort of environment here has changed dramatically over the last couple of years. You must keep in touch. I know you're obviously working away a lot, but you must keep in touch with the club via the internet and keep keep an eye on how the club's doing in the First Division.
Yeah, these I follow it on like you said on the web. I've been to a couple of the matches. I obviously can't get to all of them, but these one of my parliamentary colleagues is the president of Gisborough Football Club, and what I've said I would do, and Tom has as well, Tom Blenkinsop, that we would sort of sponsor the match or the ball for that match, and I would reciprocate in Gisborough just to help to give the club a boost, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk recently about sort of questioning whether how passionate people are about football, and we've seen the developments here of Aycliffe over the last couple of years, but recently, the last few days, we've seen how a community comes together from football, and obviously your colleague Jenny Chapman and all the work that she's done with Darlington. I mean, how important do you think football clubs play in the role?
I think it's a big important factor in the local community. Football is a really important sport for that. It's not from the big clubs like Manchester United and Liverpool have a very, very big following, to Newton Aycliffe, where people want to see their local football club do well. And it actually boosts the confidence in the town and gives people a spring in the step to know that Newton Aycliffe Football Club's doing as well as it is. Obviously, Darlington's fallen on hard times at the moment, so it does have an effect on the town, I think, where they want to see it do well, and obviously it affects the mood of the town if they think the club isn't doing as well as it should.
Yeah, I mean, talking about things that thrive and things that make communities tick. Yesterday there was the announcement of the Hitachi deal being sort of, I think they said 90% signed and sealed.
Yeah.
There was sort of rumours that there may be doubts over the deal. What's the latest? What's your take?
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in some of the news report we've had around this, because it was announced in March last year that the deal was going to go ahead, and the government announced that they wanted to have financial closure on the deal. They aimed to have financial closure on the deal by the end of 2011. Well, it's taken a few more weeks than what they thought. Not because there's any kind of doubt over the contract, but it's just a massive multi-billion-pound contract, and it's very, very complex and very, very complicated. So if it's going to take a few more weeks to finish it all off and sign it all off, then fair enough. But the contract isn't in jeopardy. It's the process that's taken a little bit longer than we thought. But it was good news that George Osborne, on his trip to Japan, actually raised the fact that train building is going to come back to the northeast, and it's going to come to Newton Aycliffe, and it's going to be a massive boost for the area. 500 direct jobs when they start building the factory at the back end of this year, the beginning of 2013. It's 200 to 300 jobs, construction jobs, and then there's going to be thousands in the supply chain, because it's not just the direct jobs, the people working at Hitachi, but all the factories and all the suppliers that will benefit from the factory being there in the first place. And the carriages will start to be built in 2015, and I think, from what I understand, they're going to start recruiting in 2014. So it's only 3 years away, all of that, and it's a massive job, and it's not going to happen overnight. And my experience of not just on Hitachi but on the town centre as well is that if people say nothing happening, then they believe nothing is happening, where in actual fact a lot is going on behind the scenes, and people have just got to be patient, and but it is going to happen, and I just think it's great news.
I mean, you couldn't sort of exaggerate how important it'll be for surrounding areas, but more from our point of view, from Newton Aycliffe as a town, it's going to be huge, isn't it?
Well, I think it's going to help put Newton Aycliffe on the map. It'll be one of the major centres of train building in Europe. Hitachi Rail Europe is called Hitachi Rail Europe for a reason. And that reason is they're looking for contracts in other countries in the EU. And when they get those contracts, those trains are going to be built in Newton Aycliffe. And train building in Newton Aycliffe will become will be mentioned in the same breath going forward. And again, just like the football club in its own way, it's helping to put the town on the map. And I want to see, the confidence of the town to be raised. It's hard times at the moment with unemployment going up, and we know there's a lot of austerity around. But there's some good news stories, and we've got to hang on to them to ensure that the confidence of the town is boosted.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of negativity, and obviously with the current climate, there's a lot of worry. But Aycliffe Industrial Park is continues to thrive, doesn't it? And hopefully over the next few years that will only flourish.
Yeah, well, like I said, you've got Hitachi. The site that's designated for the Hitachi factory is bigger than is required for the factory, because Hitachi want to see suppliers move into the town and so they're close by to where the train building facility is going to be. Again, that's going to be create jobs. How many jobs? I don't know, but it's all good news. And I'm going to make sure that we don't just stop with Hitachi. I want to see other companies move to the area. And we've got Nissan in the northeast of England. That started in the 1980s. It's been here on the way to now coming up 25 to 30 years. It's employing about 6,000 people. Now, Hitachi might never be that big, but I think the 500 jobs is the minimum number that we're going to have at Hitachi. But you've got to build it up, and it takes time. And what George Osborne said in Japan the other day was absolutely right. It is going to be a boost for the area. But I think what we need to do as an area as well is congratulate ourselves and the North East for standing up for this contract, because it wasn't a foregone conclusion. I mean, it was agreed to under the last Labour government, and it was hanging by a thread at one point with this government, with all the cuts that are going on. And I believe, and I think Hitachi believes also, if it wasn't the campaign that we led in Newton Aycliffe and the trade unions and the business sector in the North East all come together with the Northern Echo and the Newton News to be a part of this campaign, it may not have happened. I think we should congratulate ourselves on that.